The smell of barbecue smoke drifted through the air, a thick, mouth-watering scent that would have made any normal person's stomach growl. But for Jake, it sent a jolt of panic through his chest. He wasn't hungry. He was terrified, because he knew that somewhere in the middle of all that delicious grilling was something that should not be there. Something that had 4 tiny hooves, a fluffy white coat, and the most innocent, big-eyed stare. Marshmallow. His baby goat. Just this morning, Marshmallow had been safe in his pen, happily chewing on a piece of old rope like it was the greatest treasure on earth. Now, he was gone. No broken locks, no tracks leading into the woods, no sign of a struggle. Just gone. Jake had searched the entire farm, checked every corner of the barn, even crawled under his truck in case the little troublemaker had decided to take a nap in the shade. But deep down, he knew. This wasn't an accident. Someone had taken him. And then Mr. Henderson, his ever-watchful, always nosy neighbor, had appeared at the fence, chewing on a toothpick like he was the bearer of some deep, ancient wisdom. "Saw your fancy little goat this morning," he'd said. Karen was carrying him like a sack o' potatoes. Looked real pleased with herself, too. Jake's stomach had dropped. Karen. Of course it was Karen. His neighbor, his nemesis, the self-proclaimed queen of the cul-de-sac. The woman who once called the cops because his rooster crowed too loudly in the morning. The woman who had tried to petition against his unsightly farm aesthetic because she thought it was driving down property values. The woman who had stolen his baby goat. Now, as Jake peered over the ridiculously high wooden fence that separated his property from Karen's, his worst fears were confirmed. There, right next to her overpriced outdoor kitchen setup, tied to a metal post like some kind of farmyard decoration, was Marshmallow. The little goat looked confused but unharmed, occasionally letting out a small, nervous bleat. And just a few feet away, Karen and her overly dressed guests clinked glasses of wine, laughing as a chef in a ridiculous white hat flipped something over a sizzling grill. Jake's heart pounded. He had to get Marshmallow out of there. Now. But as he gripped the top of the fence, ready to hoist himself over, a shrill voice sliced through the air. "Well, well, well. If it isn't Farmer Jake." Karen stood there, a smug smile stretched across her perfectly lipsticked face. She held a glass of wine in one hand, the other perched on her hip like she had just won some kind of neighborhood dispute. "I was wondering when you'd show up." Jake clenched his fists, trying to keep his temper in check. "Give me back my goat, Karen." She laughed, the kind of laugh that made his blood boil. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. I found him wandering around near the road. Thought I'd save him before he got hurt." "That's funny," Jake shot back. "Because my fence is still locked, and my cameras didn't pick up any wandering." Karen waved a dismissive hand. "Technicalities. Anyway, you should be grateful. We're throwing a beautiful little barbecue, and I figured he'd make a wonderful addition." Jake's stomach twisted. "You mean—" "Oh, don't look so shocked," she said, rolling her eyes. "People eat goat all the time. It's a delicacy." Marshmallow let out another nervous bleat, as if he understood exactly what she meant. Jake could feel his pulse in his ears. He was going to lose it. He was going to grab that wine glass out of her hand and dump it straight over her head. But no, that wouldn't help. He needed a plan. Taking a deep breath, he forced a calm he definitely did not feel. "All right, Karen. Let's be reasonable. That goat belongs to me. You can't just steal him, Anne." "Oh, please," she interrupted, taking a slow sip of her wine. "It's just a goat." Jake's vision blurred with rage. Just a goat. Just a goat. He had raised Marshmallow from the moment he was born. He had stayed up all night during a storm when the little guy got sick. He had built him his own personal play structure, complete with ramps and tiny slide. This wasn't just a goat. This was his family. Karen smirked. "Look, you're welcome to stay. We've got plenty of food. You might even enjoy it." Jake inhaled sharply, forcing himself to think. Storming in and grabbing Marshmallow wasn't an option. Karen would call the cops in a heartbeat and somehow make herself the victim. No, he needed something better. Then, like a gift from the heavens, he spotted something in the corner of Karen's backyard. A decorative sign, perched on a table, proudly displaying a QR code. Follow my exclusive barbecue experience on social media. Jake's mind started spinning. Karen loved attention. She lived for it. If he played his cards right, he could use that against her. He took a step back, forcing a slow smirk onto his face. You know what, Karen? You're right. Maybe I am overreacting. Her eyes narrowed. Oh. Yeah, he said, crossing his arms. I mean, if this is such a high-class event, I should be honored that my goat is the star of the show. I bet your online followers would love to see this. Karen's smirk widened. Obviously. I have some very important people watching. Perfect. That was exactly what he needed to hear. Well then, Jake said, pulling out his phone, let's make sure everyone sees it. He scanned the QR code, quickly finding her livestream. As expected, she was bragging about her fresh, organic, locally sourced meal. The chat was full of comments, people asking about the food, the setting, the recipes. Jake didn't hesitate. He took a screenshot of Marshmallow, still tied up, and uploaded it to every local group he could find. Breaking. Karen from Maple Street stole my baby goat and is about to cook him live on camera. Somebody stop this madness. Then, he pulled up his contacts and made 2 quick calls. The first? To a local animal rights group that took issues like this very, very seriously. The second? To the cop. Because, unlike Karen, he actually had proof of theft. Karen was still obliviously gloating when he put his phone away. You know, I think this is going to be your most popular barbecue yet, Jake said, barely containing his grin. Because in exactly 10 minutes, this entire party was about to explode. Karen had no idea what was coming. As she sipped her wine, blissfully unaware of the chaos that was about to unfold, Jake leaned against the fence, watching everything like a man who had just set the world's most satisfying trap. The live stream was still running, and within minutes, the comments section was on fire. Messages flooded in, ranging from confused onlookers wondering if this was a joke to full-blown outrage from animal lovers who were already tagging authorities. But Jake wasn't going to leave everything to chance. He needed to make sure this disaster hit Karen in the most spectacular way possible. That was where Lisa and Timmy came in. Lisa, his childhood best friend and an expert in stirring up trouble when necessary, had already been briefed. She was currently marching up Karen's driveway, holding a tray of what she called organic artisan lemonade, but what Jake knew was actually the most disgusting, sour, undrinkable liquid she could create. Her job was to distract Karen just long enough for Jake to get into the yard. Meanwhile, Timmy, Lisa's 12-year-old menace of a brother, was positioned behind a row of bushes, armed with a slingshot and a bag of marshmallows, because if anyone was going to defend a goat named Marshmallow, it might as well be literal marshmallows. His mission was simple: cause chaos. The moment Lisa rang the doorbell, Jake slipped through the side gate, careful to stay low. Karen's guests were too busy mingling to notice him. Marshmallow was still tied up, looking utterly unimpressed with the entire situation. Jake crept toward him, whispering, "All right, buddy, let's get you out of here before you become someone's main course." Then, right on cue, Lisa's voice rang out from the front. "Good evening, everyone. Would you like to try some hand-squeezed, ethically sourced, farm-fresh lemonade?" Karen, who had been in the middle of bragging about her party's exclusivity, turned around with an irritated sigh. "Ugh, are you seriously selling drinks right now?" Lisa beamed, completely unfazed. "Oh, absolutely. And let me tell you, it's so exclusive, only the most refined palates will appreciate it." Karen, whose entire personality revolved around being considered refined, sniffed. "I suppose I could try a sip." Lisa handed her a cup with an innocent smile. The second the liquid hit Karen's tongue, she made a sound that could only be described as a dying cat attempting opera. She spat it out all over her expensive outdoor furniture, clutching her throat. "What is this? Are you trying to poison me?" Lisa gasped in mock horror. "Oh no. That was my extra bold bat. You must have a very sensitive palate." As Karen gagged and scrambled for a napkin, Timmy made his move. From his hiding spot, he pulled back his slingshot and let a marshmallow fly. It arced beautifully through the air and smacked one of Karen's guests right in the forehead. The man, mid-sip of his wine, choked in surprise, spilling red liquid all over his white blazer. "What the—" Before he could even react, another marshmallow struck the back of Karen's head, sticking to her perfectly styled blonde bob. She shrieked, spinning in confusion. By the time the third marshmallow launched, pure anarchy had broken loose. Karen's guests, now thoroughly rattled, were scrambling to dodge the unexpected sugary assault. In the middle of it all, Lisa kept apologizing while subtly blocking